Today I want to talk about creativity. Creativity, I know it's a big topic. It's one that's really fraught. You may feel like you're not creative enough. I know I feel like I'm not creative enough. I do struggle with it. I want to talk today about this book I just read, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. I know it's an old book. It was written in 2015, but I'm slow. So if you've already read it, bear with me. If you haven't, I think you should go read it. It's easy to read. It's really fun to read, really funny. And I think it'll give you a lot of ideas on how to increase your creativity and work with it. And so the concept that I liked the most in this book was that creativity is an external thing. Creativity is its own thing. And she talks about the Greeks and the Romans believed that creativity is not an inside of you. It's something that's outside of you that visits you. You've probably had that feeling when you're working on something and you really get into the flow, and then sometimes, wham, there's an idea that just comes on you. It's like you weren't even part of it. You were just sort of a conduit. And that once happened to me a long time ago. I was trying to write short stories, and I woke up one morning with this idea for a short story in my head, and I spent the whole day writing it down. I had terrible writer's cramp, and I wrote the story in one day. It all came out. I didn't have to even think about it. It was like I was taking dictation. And I think that's what she means when she says that creativity is an external thing. Now, the Greeks believed that literally a god or a goddess grabbed you by the short hairs or, by the ear and dragged you off and made you see their idea. I love that concept. I love the concept of creativity being something or somebody outside of me. I've tried to sort of adopt that a little bit. I just call her my muse. My muse is a she. Maybe your muse is a he or a fox maybe, or a coyote, or a mountain lion, or a bird. I love the idea of there's somebody waiting for me. When I go to the studio, sometimes going to the studio, it's a little lonely. You're there all by yourself. If I think of having somebody waiting there for me, somebody friendly who really wants me to succeed, it really, really helps. So I think of my muse sitting waiting for me in my studio. Sometimes she's not real friendly. She's sitting back, tapping her toe, waiting for me to get off my phone and go down into the studio and get some work done. But other days she's really happy to see me and gives me lots of ideas. And then there are days where she leaves. I don't know where she goes. Maybe she's visiting another creative that lives down the street. And those days, I try to work, even though I don't have an inspiration. Sometimes I'll just do rote things, like I might just practice painting lines or painting circles, or I will just increase my drawing skills. I'll copy a drawing because I want to be working when she shows back up again. She doesn't have a name. I should name her, huh? What would you name your muse if you had one? I'm not sure. If the working part doesn't help, then I'll go take a walk, or I will go do my dishes or work in my garden. I was going to say clean my house, but that rarely happens. Another thing I found is that she has an odd way of contacting me. So a lot of times I'm in the shower. So all I can do then is try to hold on to what she is giving me. Another thing that I do is I will invite her to go on a trip with me. Sometimes that's my artist dates that I take. I give myself an artist date to take a walk and just take pictures, or go out to lunch by myself and just think about things. But I do invite creativity. Now, one of the things that Gilbert talks about is that creativity and fear go hand in hand. Thus, the title of her book, Creative Living Beyond Fear. Gilbert suggests that you think of it as taking a journey. So you're going to go on a road trip. You're going to go on a road trip and creativity is coming, but she's got this friend, fear. that's coming with you too. I say to fear, if you'd like to come along, you can come. I'll invite fear. But if you're going to come along, you have to sit in the way back. You have to sit in the seats of the station wagon that face the back. If you're old enough to remember those days, my fear is. And fear, you can't navigate, you can't pick the restaurant, and you can't drive. And so creativity and I go on this road trip journey to try to find something, some spark, some interest, some line of inquiry that I want to follow. Always lead with curiosity and joy and no judgment. I just try to explore what I'm doing. I try to see where it takes me, see where it leads. I let it go in all different directions often, like when I'm brainstorming or when I'm just sketching and drawing, just making pretty pictures on the page or making ugly pictures on the page. There's no judgment. I'm just exploring. So people who want to learn how to paint ask me, what's the best way to learn to paint? And of course the answer is to paint. Get your paints out, get your brushes out, get your paper out, and paint. I like to suggest that they set a time limit, like they work every day for a month. And at the end of the month, know that you're going to throw away half of what you created. I know, that's a shock, huh? One of the things that does, and I do this, I know I'm going to throw away half of what I create, is that it makes me create a lot more because I don't want to throw away half of it and not have anything left. If I only do 2 paintings that month, I've only got 1 painting left if I throw it away. It makes me not be precious about my work. If I just know I'm going to throw it away when I'm finished with it, then I will be a lot more exploratory. I'll be a lot freer. I will make fear sit in the back seat with its little bag of tater chips and not bother me. Just creativity and I can work together. The next and last tip that I got from this book is to enjoy the process. Think about the process, not the product. Think about how much you're enjoying the process, what you're doing, what you're finding out, what you're exploring. Don't worry about the product. Product will be what the product will be. Now I know it's hard after you've worked really hard on a painting and you've discovered that it's not the product that you wanted it to be. But that's gonna happen no matter what. If you just put it aside and go, okay, next one, next one, next one, next one. It will go so far to increasing not just your skills and your creativity, but also your appreciation of what you're doing. And I love this piece of advice from Gilbert, that you should trust the process. Oh, I got to read my notes. Trust that the process loves you as much as you love the process. And I hope you do love the process. You should come to your work with joy, even if your work is painful, even if you're writing or drawing about sad things, even if you're singing sad songs or writing sad pieces of music. You should still feel joy that you're doing it. At least I hope you will feel joy. You should still have a sense of wonder. I like to flip this idea as an explanation, as an analogy. I'm an Irish musician. I play Irish dance music, traditional Irish dance music. I play the flute and the whistle. People love that kind of music. It's really happy, it's really jumpy, and it's designed to be. It's designed to make you dance. It's designed to lift your feet and your spirits and make you excited. But an Irish musician once told me, if you really listen to the music, underneath there is a thread of sorrow that the Irish people have gone through in their history. And that thread of sorrow underlays the joyfulness of the music. Now that's Irish music. What I want you to do is flip that, and even if you're talking about sorrow or pain or unhappiness, there's a thread of joy, wonderment, love for what you're doing that is underneath that. It's the thread that is underneath all of that. Okay, I think that's all that I have to say today. I just want to end with a couple of quotes from her books. And one of them is a quote from a poet named Jack Gilbert that used to instruct his students to live their most creative lives as a means of fighting back against the ruthless furnace of this world. And then there is the finalist quote that I'm going to leave you, and that is, the treasures that are hidden inside you are hoping you will say yes. Okay, if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. It's someplace down there below, and I will see you next week. Get back to work.